of the blended MBA program in Business Analytics and AI to take the proceedings forward and invite our esteemed panel on the dais.
At this opportune moment, because this is an opportune moment because IIM Ahmedabad is launching a program in a MBA program in a business analytics in AI, which has certain unique features and it actually fulfills the requirement of the today's time. When I say it fulfills the requirement of today's time, there are three important factors on which I would like to talk about. One is the global economy, which is growing, and the trend in the global economy which is happening today is that we have lived through the several eras of the automation. When the IT came in, it came up with the automation aspect of it. We talked about certain degree of efficiency which are going to be built into the environment. Routine payroll processing, store and stock keeping, etc. will become more efficient, etc. Efficient, and so on. Next wave came when the people began to realize the internet has come in, and when internet came in, lots and lots of value got created because you could transact over the distance, and the new business models were created. And these business models gave rise to what we call the e-commerce area. And if you remember the journey of e-commerce area, there are two aspects in it. One, in 98-99 period, the big bubble got created and everybody said that all the traditional jobs will be lost, brick and mortar businesses will disappear, and everything will be nothing but click and go. Unfortunately, in 2002, 98 to 2002, the ramp up and lots of investment did happen, lots of businesses were born, but 2002 the dot-com bubble or electronic commerce bubble burst, and many of people began to write, the same people began to write that this is a demise of brick and click, the e-commerce business. It was a bubble which has disappeared. But you notice that it never disappeared. It came back slowly because the hype was created and the technology could not match the hype. More importantly, more than technology, the business models which were created could not match the hype and the requirement of the industry. Over a period of time, in next 5 to 6 years, you found that what we call the e-commerce 2.0 began to give rise to a new kind of businesses. So those who had a solid business model like Amazon.com, etc., from the early era survived, but the newer businesses came in. And today, if you see in the hindsight, the e-commerce is here, all around us. Even the physical business which you are doing is driven by electronic business technologies behind it. The third aspect which the IT gave rise to was the data aspect of it. While doing all these transactions, etc., a huge amount of data was created. In that data was hidden lots and lots of knowledge. And that knowledge begins to be harnessed over a period of time, and that gave rise to the data-driven decision making, or what we general parlance call is business analytics, etc., and so on. Now, that creation of a hype, crash, and then stabilizing of the internet business, commerce business, it has been over a period of time. We are witnessing the same era again. So the second point which I wanted to make is that we have learned from the internet technologies, in next 10 years, the complete business environment is going to be changed. While the technologies are going to go through their own cycles and changes happen, who will manage those technologies? Because you have also learned last time failure of the dot-com burst did not happen, or the bubble did not burst because of the lack of technology. It burst because of lack of the adequate business models and people managing it. The AI, the applications they create, then those are going to survive. As I said, the Amazon.com survived from 94, 95 all the way and remains a dominant company even today. So this time, as IIM Ahmedabad, we decided we need to fill that void and create this human resource which will understand the marketplace, the human resource, as well as how these new business models, which could be more appropriate and more sustainable in the market environment, can be created. And that is why we are launching today the MBA in a business analytics and AI, to create that intermediate manpower which understands the technology at one hand, also understands the business and economics environment at the other hand, and then creates and becomes the bridge between these two environments. With that, I welcome you once again, and hopefully we'll be able to do a great job. That I don't think we can avoid the hype and the bust cycle, but probably moderate the impact of it over a period of time if we are able to create enough of the human resource who are able to create the right kind of models and make India succeed in this global competition which is going to take place in the AI hyped environment. Thank you very much.
It has changed over the years. Managers were always involved in solving practical problems. They were involved in solving practical problems, they are involved in solving such problems, and they forever will be involved in solving such problems. But the way in which things were done are different. So if you look at it historically, there always was a paucity of data. You did not have enough data on which you could take decisions. Even if you had data, the problem was you lacked computational power to analyze those data efficiently and in time. And the people who were doing this analysis were specialists who would deal with esoteric problems, and when they dealt with management problems, the management problems looked more like puzzles than real world problems, right? So therefore, traditionally what managers used to do was to pour over a whole lot of problems which was similar to the kind of problems that they would face, and with the insights that they developed on those problems, they would try and handle newer issues that came up, right? This is what we also at IIM Ahmedabad have been doing in our traditional courses like the postgraduate program, the postgraduate program for food and agribusiness management, the postgraduate program for executives. Now, the world has changed a lot, right? So what has happened now is that we are not dealing with paucity of data, we are actually dealing with data, with an abundance of data, in fact an overabundance of data, in which the problem now is not to find data, but to figure out what part of the data we need to use to solve our problems. The second thing that has come up is that our computational power has increased manifold, partly because of the increase in individual machines, but also because we have been able to harness a whole lot of machines to come together and solve problems. So Professor Bhaskar talked about the internet era. The internet era is one that brought forward this kind of a exponential increase in our computing capabilities. The third thing that has happened is that a lot of esoteric methods have now become packaged into the kind of software that we have at our fingertips. So, having done this, the traditional skills of managers are still important, but managers also need to now figure out a way in which they can harness this new technology and this new capabilities that they have. So organizations have also now started realizing that data-driven insight is no longer a support function, it's a core strategy. And professionals who can interpret, question, and apply these insights are the ones who would redefine the leadership in business. So this is what precisely the program is aimed at. It's aimed at developing strategic leaders who are fluent both in business and in the application of technology to business problems. Note, we are not talking about developing new techniques per se. What we are talking about is people who understand business, the problems faced by the business, and who are able to harness the technologies that we have to be solving these problems more effectively. So people will learn not only how to predict what will happen, but also to prescribe decision options based on their prediction. So you will apply many program will address, and we hope to have a program that will create leaders who understand that data is capital, intelligence is the currency with which we can use this data, but finally the human creativity and understanding is the true differentiator. So I welcome all of you to this launch, and hopefully we'll have
we are typically again at the very top. In Fortune India 24, we have been selected as the best business school, best Indian business school in the topmost position. And along with that, we have a very, very strong global, as well as Director Professor Bhaskaran pointed out. We want leaders. Combination of that is something that we are seeing that there is a dearth of trained human capital in that domain, and that is the target of this program, to fulfill that gap. And, earlier there was this internet era, and then digital transformation and so on. Now it's clearly the AI era, where we are seeing that organizations are now turning into intelligent organizations with massive overpour of data. And then the key thing becomes the differentiating factor is to figure out exactly which part of the data is useful for its own sake, and which part of the data may not be useful, at least in a myopic way, but maybe in a farsighted way that can become useful. So data selection, feature selection, modeling, all of these things become integral part of this. How do we address this need? This is a statement from our director. Here the idea has been to create a program which bridges the critical gap between business management and technology usage. And in particular, we are focusing, of course, on the business analytic aspect of it, along with AI. What do we offer in terms of the larger perspective with the program? So of course, IIMA has a very rich legacy in terms of creating impactful business models and creating business leaders. We have a global academic reach. We have some of the best researchers in the country working as part of IIMA today. And we have research excellence in the form of, there are at least 12 different research centers, dedicated research centers, which perform research in multiple dimensions along business. We have pedagogical innovation in terms of case-based learning, where IIMA has been a pioneer, historically speaking, along with immersive projects and real-world boardroom contexts that we bring into our classroom teaching. And of course, we are very proud of our alumni network with a global outreach. In particular, this program